draws me to the world of Napoleon is that in a matter of, less than 20 years, you have a man who created a complete empire. And he fabricated it and he produced it, employing some of the most amazing and brilliant, talented artists, writers, musicians of the period. And it's amazing because in the short period of time, we still remember.
I think the artist is faced with a big problem. On the one hand, any artist is happy to have the work, especially on this grand a scale, because the type of work that Napoleon is commissioning requires teams of artists and huge studios. We're talking about very large contracts that take place over several years in order to finish all of these works. This is not just one small commission by a private patron. I mean, these are commissions on a national, if not imperial scale. So for an artist, this means lots of steady work for a long time. On the other hand, you're in the service of a megalomaniac.
Napoleon is fascinating because he is such a master of manipulating that public image in order to legitimize forms of power that are really unprecedented in France. And the exhibition brings us examples of all kinds of Napoleonic propaganda.
I think because of the different media, you have painting, you have sculpture, you have books, you've got other materials that Napoleon had in his possession or that he had commissioned. It's clear that Napoleon was a master of propaganda, of getting the message out. And in the days before social media, before TV, Napoleon had really mastered the art of promoting himself, promoting his message, and he did so better than anyone else up to that point in time.
What we see on the walls here is the world of images, the world of representations of power, the world of the really masterful manipulation of public opinion and of the people that underpinned his regime and allowed him to be an emperor and yet be remembered as the man who saved the French Revolution.
This exhibition, these works illustrate for us exactly what he created. And he produced, he fabricated this amazing world that was rooted in French history, but that, of course, really wasn't part of French history, if you will. An example, Napoleon places his empire within the context of the great kings of France. And this is something that is really unique to this period. He is, after all, not a king of France. He was born, he was a Corsican, and came from Corsica to France, and makes himself part of this empire, and creates this kind of lineage. He makes himself a king of France. And of course, France and the world had never seen anything like this before. So this world that he creates is just absolutely spellbinding, and as you can see by the works I'm surrounded by, it's a beautiful world, and it's a world of idealism, and it's a world that was much needed, of course, coming out of the fire and the smoke of the French Revolution.
There was the terror, there were executions, there were beheadings. France was looking for a leader, and they found it in Napoleon. Napoleon obviously started the work of, or continued the work of his predecessors in supporting the revolution. He tried to take over Europe, so he follows the Roman emperors, he follows Alexander the Great, Charlemagne as well. So there's this desire for empire, there's this desire to sort of spread the ideals of the French Revolution, but all of it turned sour, especially when you look at the abuses, the totalitarianism, revolts that sprang up against Napoleon. So in many cases, Napoleon represents a great tragedy, a great triumph, a great tragedy at the same time.
In the course of the summer, I managed to travel to Corsica to see the birthplace of Napoleon, to see the roots of Napoleon. And I traveled to Paris, visited the military museum, and saw many, many items dedicated to Napoleon. What astonishes me about the art that we see today in Iowa City at the Old Capitol and at the IMU is the incredible scope and the quality of the work that was brought here to Iowa City. We actually can see the evolution of Napoleon from a young general to the Emperor of France, to the ruler of all of continental Europe.
Napoleon and the Art of Propaganda is an exhibition that is deeply interdisciplinary. It's an exhibition that encourages and welcomes artists, writers, musicians. It's really broad-reaching. So the opportunity to have these works and all the programming that they are inspiring, be it from symphonies to book readings to just the exhibition itself, it's really promoting this sense of interdisciplinariness that is so essential to the museum and its mission. Our goal with the exhibition, our hope, is that this can be used as a teaching mechanism for our students, that our faculty, that students and visitors alike can come and be transported back to the world of Napoleon and then take that inspiration with them into their own academic pursuits.
This is a fantastic collection that gives us here in Iowa a chance to see up close some of the really, really incredibly innovative and interesting political, cultural objects in modern history.
This is sort of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get a sense of the completeness of this propaganda machine that was Napoleon and artistic production that surrounded him.
What makes it so exciting is that my students can actually visit the exhibit and see these pieces for themselves. They can interact with the pieces, they can come back over and over and again, since we're going to be able to view these exhibits till January of next year.
The exhibition is really remarkable because it's going to provide students and visitors alike with the amazing opportunity to view works from the era of Napoleon. And these kind of works you really wouldn't normally have access to unless you were physically in France. And here at the University of Iowa, we've brought these together for our students, for our faculty, for visitors to the campus to enjoy and to celebrate. And we hope also that artists, writers, art historians alike can take inspiration from these works and carry them on into their own academic pursuits. It's really an amazing opportunity, and we're so excited and happy and thrilled to have the exhibition here at the University of Iowa.